Those are easy.
Well, at first I was like, oh my god, did I drink? Then I realized it was orange juice. We tried. We tried. You're recording? But then you taste the orange juice, right? So you're like, I don't know how to feel because it's orange juice, and it's for some reason it also feels like it's a little alcoholic. I'm pretty sure it's 100% orange juice, dog. But it is. It says 100%. I think it's just the acidity.
That serves the Colosseum. That would have been actually made in the same time as they made the Colosseum. So you're looking at 72 after Christ to 80 after Christ. Let's cross to the ruin, and I'll keep the flag up and this way.
Oh, siguro pala.
Them up ahead. Find it right.
Ayan o.
That's right. I'll try to see him. There was no cap on the number of gladiators in a school. So what happens is they would have had about 700, not the 50 on TV. 200 actually did die in the attempt, but 500 made it out, and that's a small army. Whereas Spartacus had quite a troop with him when he broke up. So that's why he was successful to a certain degree. Now, if you cap him to 100, it's much less likely for that to happen. One, and two, what happens to any sport if I cap the number of players to the quality and price of each player remaining in said sport? It goes up, right? So therefore, within 150 years after the fact, you're going to end up with the gladiators here being some of the best trained, because it's no longer sink or swim, take prisoners of war, throw them in because he looks big, let's see if he can do it. At this point you start buying them young, around 17-ish, and ultimately you're gonna end up with them being trained for about a year till about 18, then they get branded. They usually get fought in smaller venues in the provinces, wherever they got born or bought. 300 to 600 men inside there. So now, ultimately, you're gonna end up with that being row 1 out of 3. Row 2 is under the sidewalk, you can kind of see. So usually what they try to do would be more of a carrot and stick approach, where row 1 is the carrot and you lose it, right? Because if you go to a massage parlor, you wanna go early so the guy's not tired. Same idea here, right? So you wanna be row 1 gladiator. Now, with that, let's get to where it says buy tickets here, and I'll put a phone call to the office to see where these guys are. So far, so good. How are you?
Yeah.
How are you holding up?
All right.
Good. Benefit of the gladiators, that would primarily be for the benefit of the guests and visitors that would have actually been here. More than that, okay. Sorry for that. Once we get in front, I'll give you the headsets and so on.
Do they just have armies at all of the Look, there's another army guard. It's humongous. You wanna go stand there for scale?
I think you're gonna need to get the identity.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Just
80. 76 of them would have been numbered, and you'd have got either bronze or lead, depending on the age. Tokens that would be given to you by and large by your local prefect, your local political leader, your district mayor, your alderman today, that guy. Even in the empire, he was voted by the people in the neighborhood. Usually it was a big campaign deal. Vote for me, my cousin's a senator, I can get us row 20. This guy just gets us row 35 every year. So that's a boost for you. Another way of getting tokens for it, and these are going to be really good, is be in the army, be a veteran of the army, be in any way affiliated to the army, and usually you get tickets in the Colosseum at least from row 6 to row 20, so 15 steps right after the nobility. If you want to be STEM bodyguards, will probably hit you. Second of all, they have their family sigil, which is usually any type of heraldry put on top of an axe with olive rods around it, carried by their main bodyguard. He will show you that, then proceed to beat you with it because you don't ask a nobleman. Usually how you tell is by the color purple or blue. These are important, they're incredibly expensive. They're about 7 times more expensive than their own weight in gold. So if the guy has purple lines on his tunic, that's the equivalent of wearing a 10 times more expensive than Prada kind of thing today. When some kind of says, that guy's rich, he's okay, go through. So usually it's about colors, just like it's about brands today. Why am I telling that? The dying defeated, wounded, paid for the gladiators coming in and the victorious ones going out. Now, the first 5 steps around would have your family name. If you're a Roman nobleman, that's where you're gonna go and sit down, right? In 1929 to 1936, when the fascist regime reconsolidates the building, and you can see the modern machine gun, it's just those pieces at the base of these brick columns. Now, these columns, these pillars, will be stone. As you can see, some of the...
Anak, sabi mo sa kanila, alam naman niya
By
eh.
the
Ang init
1920s,
naman nito.
it looked to most architects that it
Babalisaw
had
sa
one
amin
more
tayo.
brick in it, and it's done.
Dito lang
So
kami.
that's when, with fairly modern technology, right, there's the levels, that is a Roman wall, primarily because their scaffolding system was embedded in the wall. So imagine I brick the wall till here, I put a wooden beam over here and a wooden beam here, brick them in, put 2 boards on either side, and I'm working front to front with one of my buddies on the other side, right, and we're bricking together, scaffolding run. You are taking it off, but you're taking it off in little pieces, you're breaking it, maybe you want the panel. So how do you take the panel? Well, you start finding the bindings between 2 panels, you make a hole with a chisel or a nail and a hammer there, you put a piece of stone in that hole, and you take the sledgehammer and you hit that stone. That's going to displace them sideways, and they're going to pop up more or less as full panels. And there's proof of that even here, because there's a stone. I don't know if you guys can see it, the kiddos, you might want to move around. But there's a stone just where the foot is. Don't worry. But, okay, so that over there is just wedged in, right? So the guy put the stone in the hole with the sledgehammer, started hitting it, place a marble, pop, left it there. Chances are, many of them will have this stuff. By the time of the medieval times, everybody's on the other side of the river. At least by the 800s, by the end of the Dark Ages, the Vatican's already settled. The popes did start on better job before with eyes closed. So this is not a picture point. This is when they took the marble off. Remember I told you that they used to have big panels of marble on this. Well, unlike with the brick that don't cement them on this, they do attach them. So they attach them with an iron pin with a hook. Right, and then you put the marble on that hook. I'm exaggerating the size, but you're getting the idea. Right, and you put the marble on it. Now, if this thing would just be a rod with a hook, the weight of the marble will eventually pull it out. So what they had was a D-shape element in the back. So I embed it. I bring 2 blocks together, I carve a line, and I play Lego. I put this from the top, then I close up with the 3rd one, and then it's sturdy, ain't going anywhere. Now, the reason why we know about these people in the first place is that 300 puteros in the building stealing the Pope's marble. That's all. So what's a putero? He's an outlaw. Why? Well, these guys live on the other side of the river primarily because they don't want to pay taxes. So that's why they're an outlaw. Now, stealing from the Pope, it's clear that they're not paying taxes because otherwise they would be allowed to take from the building, but they're inhabiting it without permission. There's 300 of them, so good luck dislodging them. So obviously they're taking the marble off the wall, it's stealing. Now, and I'll explain how a bit later. They drain it in about 3 days. First of all, the way that you fill it in is by using the sewage. You would have had a water tower on that hill there. They would have had a U-turn drop. You drop the water into the Christians, in one way or another, they have faced the Roman Church and they got sentenced to become nuns. Now,
need water. Huh? I need water.
See that white stuff? That's marble.
Marble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, get in the shade.
Wow.
Yeah.
If you need to use the restroom, there is another possibility.
Appointed single mansion, confiscates the wealth of all the families, exiles and executes them, and tells the Romans, this is the hill that's responsible for the civil wars. I'll take them out, I'll take all their money, and I'll build you free healthcare. 50 temples to Asclepius were built throughout town. That's a god of medicine, free healthcare clinics in every single corner. Build bathhouses for 25,000 Romans to get a free bath and massage at the same time. Family members of each fed, half taxes for the plebeians, double taxes for the patricians. And when he came to power, he doubled the amount of plumbing and he...
You want to come Italy now?
Wala akong pera. Buti na lang wala siyang pera. Sabi.
Dark humor, okay. So the dark humor part, that's the Church of St. Lawrence. Does anyone know who St. Lawrence is as far as the patron saint of what? Chef Sectaridians, which is a weird mix. Now why? Because poor St. Lawrence got basically cooked alive. So this is what happened. He was a priest in the 270s, which makes you very illegal, under an emperor called Diocletian, which is an infamous Christian killer. He will kill a saint, well, create a saint by killing him, a man called Sebastian, the patron saint in the Italian military. Saint Sebastian was a palace guard that got converted by his friend and priest, Lawrence. Now, when Lawrence used the Sebastian got shot by arrows, and it's partly his fault for converting him, he shows up at the palace in a fit of panic and starts entering the temples and destroying the pagan statues and, you know, making a scene. The emperor himself comes down with the Praetorian guards, and the palace guards were so zealous about it that in one hand they had the sword and in the other they had logs to already put this guy on the fire and burn fast. Now, this is that would be for poor St. Lawrence compared to what follows happening to him. He just keeps laughing and laughing and laughing. And after a while, the emperor comes close and says, "Why are you laughing? You're being burnt alive." To which Lawrence laughs back at him and says, "You're not burning me alive, you're cooking me alive. You're such a fool. If you're gonna cook me, flip me over. I'm raw on one side and add some spices if you're at it." And then he flips him and he dies. So the Vatican figured that, okay, since he got flipped and cooked, he's the patron saint of chefs. But because they think that's funny, they made him the patron saint of comedy as well, which is incredibly dark. However, the man dies in the 270s. That says a lot, because if my grandpa built a tribunal, I'll be a judge.
I took a video.
or at least I did, 13,000 steps. The day before, I don't know if I showed, 9,000. How are you liking Italy so far? I like it. I would like it more if I didn't fall. She has fallen a total of 2 times on three times on this trip. Are you counting one in the bedroom? Yeah. A total of 3 times on this trip. She's very funny.
I'll be honest, a lot of this day was really just exploring the Colosseum and seeing the Vatican and St. Peter's Basilica. And to be honest, while I was in the midst of learning a lot of it, I also, being in a completely different country, was unsure and a little hesitant to just like be pointing my camera everywhere. I know that it's a very touristy location, but it also feels completely disrespectful when I'm trying to learn about it and see it. So a lot of my vlogs will be of the floor and you'll hear people talking, which is me learning unless I get like super confident at some point, which hopefully I will gain more confidence, because if you really think about it, I'm not gonna see these people tomorrow, nor will I probably ever see them again. So I get to have fun, they get to stare at me weird and know that I'm a tourist, even though my outfit should probably tell them otherwise. So and honestly, like, I'm looking at all of these pictures and I'm going through it again, and it is so cute and so funny to like see everything and experience all of it again through pictures, as if I was just there without the feet pain from walking the entire time. Because as you saw, I did about 10,000 steps. I might have said in the recording about 9,000 or 13,000, but that is from a specific time frame, which doesn't accurately reflect the entire day. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop yapping now and let you enjoy the rest of these pictures. And I also hope that you really enjoyed the vlog. Thank you.
made this one.